So this chapter follows Tyrion Lannister. Yeah, the short guy with the sharpest mind in Westeros. Now, just so you're caught up, the king's massive crew just left Winterfell, and while most of them headed back south, Tyrion actually decided to go north. Why? Because he's curious, nosy, and kind of bored. So he joins Benjen Stark, Jon Snow, and a few others on this cold and grim journey toward the Wall, that ancient, icy barrier up north that keeps out whatever monsters still exist out there. Now, if you've seen Tyrion before, you know he's all brains. Dude doesn't ride well, doesn't fight, and definitely wasn't built for long trips in the freezing cold. But still, he makes the journey like a champ, drinking wine, cracking jokes, and reading books about dragons while everyone else's fingers freeze off. Classic Tyrion. The trip starts normal. They pass through quiet northern towns, stone bridges, and little farmlands, but as they ride further, the trees get thicker. The hills rise like jagged teeth, and the cold? Man, the cold gets brutal. They're deep in the Wolf's Wood now, a massive forest full of howling wolves and ancient trees. The only company they've got are a few of Tyrion's guards, some fresh recruits for the Night's Watch, and this grumpy old man named Yoren, who shows up with two peasant kids that look like they were scraped off the bottom of the kingdom. Tyrion learns they're rapers. Yeah, not exactly the noble knights Jon Snow was expecting to meet on this so-called honorable journey. You can tell Jon's getting his first dose of reality. He'd been imagining the Night's Watch as this noble brotherhood, full of men like his uncle Benjen. But what he sees are criminals, outcasts, and the lowest of the low. It hits him hard, and Tyrion notices. Benjen Stark isn't making things easy either. He's cold, literally and emotionally. Doesn't like Lannisters, doesn't like Tyrion tagging along. But Tyrion, being Tyrion, keeps pushing through. He even takes a nasty old bearskin Stark offered him, just to annoy him. Lannisters never turn down free stuff, after all. Every night, while the others set up camp, Tyrion sneaks off with a book and a bottle. One night he finds this old oak by a river and just chills there, reading about dragons. Yep, he's obsessed with them. Their bones, their fire, their history, everything. He once saw the real skulls down in King's Landing. The thing is, they weren't scary. They were beautiful to him. Majestic, even. Tyrion imagined himself riding one, burning enemies with dragonfire, soaring above the world. Not bad for a guy who can barely get on a horse without a custom saddle. Jon Snow eventually wanders over and sees him reading. They talk. Tyrion drops a lot of truth here. He says, "Look at me. What do you see?" Jon answers politely, but Tyrion isn't asking for compliments. He's reminding him he's a dwarf, looked down on by society, but still smart as hell. Tyrion admits his mind is his weapon, and books are how he sharpens it. They talk about dragons, and Jon says, "There are no more dragons." Tyrion agrees, but you can feel the sadness in that. For all his sarcasm, Tyrion really wanted them to be real. Like, maybe, just maybe, one day, he'd fly away from all this. But then the conversation gets raw. Tyrion starts poking at Jon's wounds. Talks about how the Night's Watch is full of rejects, how Jon's basically being sent away because of who he is. A bastard. Jon gets heated. He shouts, fists clenched, nearly in tears. That's when Ghost, Jon's silent, pale direwolf, suddenly pounces. Out of nowhere, tackles Tyrion to the ground like he's some threat. Tyrion's face hits the dirt. He's stunned, tries to get up, but his back is shot. He calls for help. And Ghost just stares. Red eyes glowing. Fangs bared. Not growling, not barking, just watching. Jon finally tells Tyrion to ask nicely. Tyrion swallows his pride and does it. "I'd be very grateful for your kind assistance, Jon." And like that, Jon helps him up. gives back his book, and even cracks a joke. Says maybe Ghost thought Tyrion was a grumpkin. That gets a laugh out of him. Tyrion's had a lot of people called him a lot of things, but a mythical creature? That one's new. They share some wine. Jon finally asks, "So, all that stuff about the Night's Watch? It's true?" Tyrion nods. And here's the thing. Jon doesn't deny it anymore. He just accepts it. Says, if that's what it is, that's what it is. Tyrion respects that. A lot of men lie to themselves. Jon Snow? He's learning to face the truth. They walk back to camp together. Tyrion refuses Jon's help over the roots, proving he still has that Lannister pride. But deep down, you can tell something changed between them. At camp, Benjen freaks out when he sees Jon was missing. Tyrion jokes it was Grumpkins, and for the first time, even Yoren cracks a grin. Everyone eats squirrel stew, black bread, and hard cheese by the fire. Tyrion shares his wine, even with Yoren, and one by one the group turns in for the night. Only Jon stays awake, standing alone, watching the flames, just like someone burdened by more than just cold and duty. Tyrion, from his little shelter, looks back at the kid and smiles. It's not pity, it's not mockery, just a quiet kind of respect, one outcast recognizing another. So this chapter ends with Tyrion and Jon finally understanding each other, not as nobleman and bastard, but as two people stuck in roles they didn't choose, trying to survive in a world that doesn't care. Make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon, and don't forget to check out the previous chapters if you haven't already.